Introducing. I'll not spend the time on introduction right now. We'll start with the topic. So basically, today's topic that's which we have is basically threats attacks, which is increased a lot. Okay, like and what exactly the threats are there and what attacks are increased. Uh, uh, we'll see it. Okay, so starting from cyber tip of the day. Okay, it's a generalized tip. Okay, it's not too much technical. So today's cyber tip is to always be cautious, be where the unsolicited messages or emails, especially if they contain attachment. Sorry, when it comes to the cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is always a topic which is where we have to be aware 24/7 and 365 days, because nowadays technical and non-technical attack and human-centric attacks are also increased. A manipulation of human being is easier than any technology manipulation. So, and in cybersecurity is called a weakest link in cybersecurity is a human being only. You can purchase a topest firewall in market. You can purchase a top-notch security solution in market, SOR solution, SIEM solution, IPS, IDS, email security, encryption solutions, MDM solutions, whatever you can take, defense in depth, multi-layer security, zero trust is there, and so on. Okay, so everything you can implement, but if you are not awareing human beings for security, then there is no use of it. Okay, because human manipulation is happening a lot, and that's how also attackers actually able to successfully launching an attack. So a threat is not only for technology, so it's actually a threat for human being also. Okay, this is also will understand. A spam emails or phishing emails, a spear phishing, which is called, are commonly happening in organizations or with the different employees in organization. Targeted departments like HR department. Okay, these are very common attack targets for the cyber criminals, because these departments are good in their job, but they are not good in the technology mostly. Okay, so that will definitely will create a chance that if they will receive some spear phishing email, which is looks like a legitimate email, but is actually not legitimate. So they might be clicking on the links, they might be downloading the attachments. A simple thing, they might be receiving a invoice from the well-known email ID, and they will download the invoice and they will open the invoice. PDF invoice is there, and that invoice is containing some malicious script inside. So that is also a big thing. Another thing. Okay, so we'll see here some common threats and also understand the new types of threats that we are facing nowadays. So there are the most commonly four types of cyber attacks are happening, which is a malware, malicious software, then network attacks, social engineering, which is the common form of the attacks, and that is increased nowadays. Every day we are hearing in news people getting looted with the OTP frauds, calling frauds, online frauds, and there are lots of types of the frauds are started nowadays. And these people are working in gangs. So and mostly these people even not the technical people. Okay, and they are working in gangs. They are calling to people. They are trying to send some malicious content to the targets and manipulating them, blackmailing them. They will take advantage of it in the forms of money, in the forms of any other advantages are there. So social engineering is one of the common attack method, which can be possible on employees also, and web application attacks, because nowadays web application dependencies is increased. So this is also the very common things that we have to be focused on. Okay, so malwares are, which is very common. So malware is basically this word is created from the two different words. It's a malicious software. So it's a software only, but it's not for the legitimate use. Its use is for the bad purpose, or which is not for the good things. Using this malware, using the malware family, a attacker can compromise with a file-based attack or the fileless attack. A file-based attack where human interaction is required. Means attacker will share the file, human beings will download and click on the file, and then attack execution will gets triggered. And there is another type of attack where it's a fileless attack. There is no requirement to send a file. So script is automatically gets executed from the attacker side, and after the successful attack, they will actually uh, they'll actually control the targets using the CNC. So CNC is basically a command and control. So it's like a centralized server or centralized network from where an attacker can manage hundreds of machines, which is compromised. And mostly these machines might be not that much of secure, and from that machine they can launch an attack to the different targets. So these machines are basically called as a botnets or called as the zombies. Okay, so basically malware families, malware family members are different. A virus is there, or bots are there, worms, trojans, ransomwares, and through that attackers are trying to manipulate, trying to take an advantage or basically a compromise a target systems. So virus is a very common factor, or commonly infectious, commonly infections are happening through it. So it's a type of malware that infects a computer by attaching itself to the executable files or documents. Mostly viruses are coming through the files, like an PDF file or Word file, and with a macros also in an Excel file, in Word file, PPT files. Macros are commonly used. So even in other file formats also. So macros is also can be executed through that. Malicious codes can be executed. So it's spreading, and when those file gets opened or executed, so trigger is required. It means that if someone downloading the virus infected file, if they are not going to open it, so it becomes ideal. It will not do anything because it's required a trigger. Okay. In a worm is basically a self-replicating, means someone is touching it to it or not. Once it will enters in PC or any media, it will replicate its copy automatically. Okay, so it requires a network and it spreads very fastly. Mostly, worms are created for taking the unwanted resources at the high level. They can, if the worm infection happens, so resources utilization is as very high level. So it will consume the different resources. So we cannot use that much. Trojans are basically the applications which acts as a legitimate one. But once we will trust them, they will act as a malicious. So their purpose is to act as always as a whitelisted traffic. So it will easily enters into the organization or in machine. And after that, it will actually trying to steal the data from the computers or from the networks. I want to give here one example to you. There is one Trojan, banking Trojan is created. That's called as a emoted. Okay, and that Trojan created in 2014. This Trojan is one of the dangerous Trojan ever created in this world. That is specifically created for banking domain only. Initially, this Trojan is targeted a US and UK based banks, and this Trojan is so much dangerous. Like, it not only attack by itself, but also it giving the platform to other malwares to launch an attack. Okay. So, and it's having the ATP type, basically the APT type. APT is basically advanced persistent threat. So it changing its property continuously. Okay, like we can say example of COVID right now. Okay, so when the COVID started, so it's almost 3 to 4 years right now, and we can see it changing its property. Means new variants are launching every month. We are hearing that even the infection are started and the new variant also there. So what it means that a strain changing its property. So it's again starting infecting people. Okay, the same thing happens with the APTs. What APTs are there? APTs are changing its property automatically. Means when it's able to know that something is blocking us. Okay, someone is able to detect us. It will change its attributes. Okay, either by itself or from the command and control server. So this emoted is change its property continuously. So from 2014 to 2016, They targeted almost most of the banks and banks in US and UK. From 2017, they started to target the banks in Switzerland. So they created for the it. Then in 2018, very strong version of the emoted got launched, and it started to infect the different individual people also, not only organizations, banking organizations, but even the individual people. And in 2020, a worldwide campaign launched to stop this emoted Trojan because it's creating a lots of damage worldwide. So lots of researchers came together and they launched a one campaign to stop this Trojan. That campaign called as Operation Ladybird. In January 2021, this malware totally got blocked. Miss officially is declared that emoted traces got vanished and two people arrested from Ukraine. Right now, we know the Ukraine and Russia war is going on. At that time, in 2021, in June 2021, January 2021, this operation got launched, and immediately all the command and control servers got vanished, and two people got arrested from the Ukraine. It's make the allegations there. These two people are responsible for for this emoted. And again, in 14th November 2021, okay. See, after the January 2021 is got blocked. And after the 10 months, in 11th month of the same year, on 14th November 2021, this malware again came live. Okay, means the malware which is declared officially dead, it's again came live. Means this malware family is a Trojan. This Trojan came into the scenario and is again started to infect the machines. And from the November 2021 to today's date, we can say today is 4th May 2023, is still active in the environment and still infecting to the machines. Yeah, detections are there, definitely is there. But by from this example, we able to understand that from the one malware detected in 2014 and is 2023. So almost 9 years that malware is into the ecosystem, and so-called security solutions, top-notch security solutions, Gartner listed or G2 listed or whatever listing is there. So these malwares, which is claiming that we able to detect everything, we able to detect with an machine learning, artificial intelligence, because nowadays this is something we can say a USP for security companies to sell their product by saying we have a artificial intelligence integrated in our products. Okay, so that is also unable to detect that in a proper. So this is, we can say, a definitely a gap in the security solutions which we are using and whatever targets we want to cover. Okay. So if you want, you can just Google it about the emoted. It's an excellent, one of the very strongest Trojan which is ever created in the Trojan's history. Then another one is a ransomware. Ransomware is infection started from 2015 more. Ransomware is in ecosystem from 1987. Okay, so ransomware is created in 1987. At that time, information technology is not spreaded everywhere. So ransomware spreads at that time through the floppy disk. Nowadays, floppy disk is a history, but at the time, floppy disk is only the one of the good medium to transfer the data. So in 1987 also ransomware is available, but its spread is not there that much. It's very limited spread. Then after the 1 to 2 decade also there is not a very severe infections from the ransomware happened. But from 2014-15 the things got changed. In entire world ransomware attack got increased, and ransomware encrypting the machines, encrypting the data to decrypt it is asking the money. A very recent case happened with the government of India in December month. As we aware, AIMS institution, which is the one of the well-known healthcare institutions of government of India, got attacked through the ransomware there. And for the 19 days, almost 19 days, their network is not accessible. Attacker demanded 200 crore rupees to Indian government. Indian government not paid it, but they able to recover their network. But it took almost 18 days, and on the 19th day, the network came live. Investigation still going on. According to theory, they targeted a CT scan machine, MRI machine in the AIMS. That machine having a older firmware. Okay, so MRI machine, which is might be connected to network. So attacker able to understand, they can identify the flaw in that MRI machine. So they targeted the MRI machine, and from the MRI machine, then they taken the access of the internal network. Okay, so this is just a recent example happened with the government of India. Okay, in December 2022. Then a network attack. So network attacks are basically targeting to the network devices like router, switches, then basically servers also, or even the end devices. So a very common attack is a DOS attack. And we are still finding a solution how to stop a DOS attack. You can see the AWS like solutions, Azure solutions. In a cloud computing also, there is a separate feature available that saying that if you purchase this feature, if you subscribe this feature, so your network will be gets protected from the DOS attack. So DOS attack is not a new attack. Its attack is present in this ecosystem from last more than 3 decades. Right? But still we are we are struggling to find a proper solution. We are unable to stop entire DOS. Yeah, we can able to control them. Okay, controlling is there, but stopping is not it. And that's why the companies are actually making too much money by just saying that to protect your network from the DOS attack, you need to purchase this separate solution. Okay. So that is not a by default comes. Okay, so that is an add-on is required. So DOS attack is basically floods and packets in a manner where legitimate system unable to get access by anyone or service anybody. Like an flooding the thousands or millions of packets, or we can say the thousands of packets on in a millisecond on a target system. So target system gets confused and is not responding to anyone. So DOS, and the next version of is a distributed denial of service, that is a DDoS. So a DDoS is basically instead of doing the one-to-one attack from the many system is doing the attack on single system. Like and I just give an example before some time regarding the bots. So bots are the very weak security machines available in market. Like and even the mobile is also the bot, or a laptop also the bot. So attackers are hacking these machines, and from that machine they are launching attack on the big target. So that is basically the botnets. So on the botnets, through the botnets, attacker can launch the DDoS attack, distributed denial of service attack. So instead of doing a single machine to use a single machine for attack, hundreds of machines used for attack to make it more successful, more destructive. Then MITM. MITM is basically the man in the middle attack. So it actually intercepts the traffic. It actually captures the traffic, and it can modify the packets also, which is which is travels in between the communication. In a social engineering, where a basic type is happening, basic attack is happening, that is a phishing attack. It can be happen through the social media applications. Even the nowadays WhatsApp, Instagram, Telegram like applications are used for the doing the phishing attack, because might be everyone is not using the email, but everyone definitely use a WhatsApp. Everyone definitely use a Instagram or Facebook or any other, even any other platforms basically. So phishing is basically where sending the malicious media or the link, and if someone clicks on it or opens the file, so their machine gets compromised. Okay, and using this, attacker can actually steal data, very sensitive data from it. Okay, and it's a very common form of the compromise of the target. Okay, and easily successful rate also the very higher. According to the theories, according to the surveys, 92% attacks happening over the network through the through the emails or the social media in the any form. Basically, instant chatting applications are very common nowadays. In organizations also is used, not in laptop, but at least in mobiles are there. So employees might be having a restricted systems on laptop, but their mobiles are open, so they can connect to even if the MDM is there, then it's a good thing. If the MDM is not there, so definitely BYOD concept becomes a critical for us. Okay. Then spear phishing is a targeted phishing. Is basically a legitimate, looks like an email comes, and it pretend that it came from the official source. But if we click on it, so is basically doing the same thing as a phishing. But chances of success here is more, because email which is gets received or message which is gets received, it looks like a legitimate always. Then baiting is there. So baiting is basically where the attacker can attack basically which lives on physical devices. like a USB drives or basically on CDs. So what they will do, so they will actually distribute the USB drives, which is having an infectious media, and people will, it's like a giveaway or some distribution campaign. And if someone pick it up and they will insert that with their machines, so their machines is compromised. So that is basically called as a bit. Okay, so social engineering attacks are more than any attacks nowadays. Then web application attacks. So web applications nowadays are increased, and there is a one organization also there called the OWASP, Open Web Application Security Project. So they are releasing a top 10 vulnerabilities in interval of every 3 to 4 years, and recent top 10 vulnerabilities released in year 2021. So and also the another one, which is the CWE, common weakness enumerations, a 20 top 25 software vulnerabilities they are releasing every year. So recent they released for 2022 in last year. 2023's top 25 is expected in upcoming 1 to 2 months. So in that top 25 or top 10, okay, so they are associated together, they are mapped together. In there, SQL injection or injection attacks are common, only on the top three. Okay, a reason behind it, injections can be happen with any way, like an protocol injection, OS injection, packet injection, service injections, command injections. Okay, different forms of the injections are happening, and SQL injection, which is targeting to the SQL databases. Okay, one of the very popular tool for it, which is called as the SQL map, which is used by the hackers. It's an open source tool, and it works against the 30 plus databases, including the Amazon Redshift. Okay, those who thinks that the mostly that cloud databases are not the most of the target, but Amazon database, Azure databases also might be gets penetrated through the SQL map. It's a free and open source tool, and success rate is higher. If we are not protecting our database with a proper methods, proper standards, so definitely it can be used for that database. And according to OWASP, injection is most of the, or according to CW also, injection is one of the most successful attack technique on the web applications. With this, mostly the data breaches also happens. Data breaches are basically where data of the consumer, data of the employees, data of the clients get released unauthorized. So in India also it's happened with the different companies. So we can, a recently case happened with ICICI Bank, but they are saying that it's not happened. So investigation is going on. But might be we will able to know the conclusion. But as of now, ICICI Bank says no, proof showing that it's happened. Then another incident happened with Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail. So their brands are there, like Allen Solly and so on, the brands they are owning around 11, 12. So entire Allen Solly, entire Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail brand got hacked, and lots of database got released. Another which is the target happened in India, that is a Big Basket. So Big Basket, which got hacked in 2020. Apart from that, Domino's India is also there. Air India, the data breaches happened with it. Even the Aadhaar card, but government of India is not agreeing with that. But proofs are shown, which is the Aadhaar got database got leaked. So basically, a data breaches happens because of the successful database injections. So data gets released from it and is displayed publicly. So SQL injection, which is a very commonly used, and another tool is used that is called the Howdy. So which is one of the very popular tool for the SQL injection. Then cross-site scripting, XSS attacks are there. This is also very older attack. But still we are finding, we are struggling to find a solution with XSS attacks. So where a manipulation of web pages are happening. So web pages destruction will happen, and basically the any scripting can be used against the search box or any input field, and through that attacker able to know that is it the website is vulnerable for XSS attack or not, and after that be able to do the successful attacks. CSRF is cross-site request forgery, which is the next level of the XSS attack, where attacker can actually tricks to the target, where to perform any unintended actions on the web applications. So they will trick to the target saying that to perform some other actions on it. Okay. Also, then in the network threats and the vulnerability. So in a network vulnerabilities is nothing but a flaws or is a weakness. And Maitre's framework is actually guiding on it. So there is a website, is database is available, which is basically the cve.maitre.org. And this website is transiting to the new website that is the cve.org. CVE is a common vulnerability exposure, and a CVE is a unique identity given to the every vulnerability. So its format is like CVE 2020, CVE then year, and then the unique number of the vulnerability. So basically, year represents which year is got identified. So if we are saying that CVE 2023, it means that it's identified in 2023. Okay, and then the unique number of it. So CVEs are maintained in this database. Another very popular website, which is the nvd.nist.gov, and so on websites are available where uh, database CVE database is maintained. So through that, we are able to know that what are the new CVEs got detected, and if we are using the same products in organization, then how we can use the workaround or solutions or patches on. Okay. So these flaws in a network security, so it can be exploited by attacker to gain unauthorized access, stealing the data and launching the attacks. So vulnerabilities are responsible for attacks. So if any vulnerability got detected, so that can be exploited by exploits. Okay, so exploits is a custom written malicious script that helps to take advantage of the vulnerability. Okay, so first vulnerability is required and then exploit is required. So together it will work, and then vulnerability is exploited. So exploits are available online, different online platforms free of cost, and even it can be purchased over the dark web, over the surface web, and people purchasing it also using the cryptocurrencies mostly. And there are some tools available in market which helps us to create exploits. So we can say example a metasploit where we can create some exploits to it, or there's a very popular tool for it that's called the Cobalt Strike. So Cobalt Strike is used by the red teamers. So in organization there are the different teams. Red teams which is for offensive purpose, blue teams for the defensive purpose, purple teams also there, white teams are there. Okay, so in most of the organization, blue and red teams are very common. Okay, purple and white team might be not there everywhere, but mostly a red team and the blue teams are available. So the basically the Cobalt Strike is an adversary simulation used by the red teamers more, and even as well as pain testers and the hackers to launch attack, and even after the attack post exploitation and maintaining the persistent access. Persistent access means even means after the hacking, not to make this machine always accessible. Okay, that is a continuous access. Okay. So what are the network vulnerabilities are basically issues? So first thing, unpatched operating system and applications. Okay, so in organization is very common. If you visit a shodan.io, it's a commercial website and it's a smart search engine. There are some other platforms also available, like Census is there, okay, which is very commonly used platform. So if you use that platform, in over that platform, if you search about the old versions of operating system, you will find thousands of operating systems are thousands of machines are still using it. Okay, like an Windows 7, Windows XP also still is in market, or any old web server. We can say example right now, IIS version 10 is going on, which is the latest version of Internet Information Services. But if you use a Shodan to find IIS version 5.0, IIS version 6.0, IIS version 7.0, and the related same life cycle, relatively same family versions. So in that also, you will able to find thousands of machines, live machines are still using these versions, which is where the life cycle of that versions got already ended. Okay, it's not right now valid. If you go on the Microsoft website and check the life cycle of IIS 6, IIS 7, IIS 8 version 8, it's already ended. Okay, but still that is used in market. Is happening with other applications also. Java or .NET or even any other programming language or the web servers is used, even with the PHPs or Apache or any other web technologies basically or any other applications. Okay. So unpatched operating system and application is one of the big target and is easily accessible through the Shodan like services or GSDB, which is a Google hacking database or Google Darking. So using that, we can identify it. Then lack of patch management. So patch management is lacking. So patches are available, but people not organizations are not installing it, or might be they installing it, but without testing it. So you can say example of the Sophos firewall. In 2019, April 2019, Sophos firewall got hacked with a zero-day vulnerability. What is a zero-day vulnerability? Zero-day vulnerability is the latest vulnerability, fresh vulnerability, where there is no solution is available for it. Okay, so in a Sophos firewall, physical appliance and the virtual appliance, uh, it's identified with a 1 0-day attack of SQL injection. April 2019 is happened. April 2020, sorry, not 2019. April 2020 it's happened. On 23 April, 22 or 23 April, this attack is happened. And a patch got released on 25th April. Okay, so it's almost required 3 to 4 days to release the patch. Thousands of machines over the of the organizations got affected through that. Sophos is one of the leading vendor in security market, and they have a market in India also right now. Previously, they have more markets into the US and UK regions. Asian region they just started in last 3-4 years before. So so Sophos got attacked. They released the patch also, and they are actually a firewall. You can see the firewall which assures a customer saying that if you use our firewall, if you use our security solution, your network is secure, your infrastructure is secure, and itself that device gets hacked. And it's not about the Sophos. You can take any name, Palo Alto, you can take name of the Symantec, you can take name of the CrowdStrike, SIEM, any SIEM is there. These are having the history of breaches and the attacks, or even their devices or appliances got compromised. So, so whatever security solutions we are using is not the last truth. Okay, so technology can be manipulated. We need to accept this. Even we are paying a lakhs of rupees for that. Okay, so no technology is a perfect in this world. So everything having a limitations. So we need to understand. We need to accept this. If something is today secure, so day after tomorrow it becomes insecure. See what happened with SSL. SSL 1.1, SSL 1.1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 2.0 to 3.0, everything got hacked. Is compromised. Nowadays, it mentions that we have to use TLS 1.2 minimum. Even the TLS 1.0, 1.1 also not recommended to use. See, whatever is secure today, tomorrow it becomes absolute. And we are living in the IT-centric world where the technologies are rapidly changing. And there are the lots of security challenges where organizations are not focusing. Organizations are not focusing on blockchain problems. They are not focusing on the Web 3.0 problems. Uh, then artificial intelligence AI challenges are there, machine learning challenges are there. Another thing, augmented realities, and something nowadays which is very in very demanded topic, that is a metaverse. Okay, and everyone is directly indirectly connected with this. Or this is not my area. Okay, as an organization, at least lots of technologies we need to involve directly, indirectly. And every technology having its own security challenges, even the new technology or the existing technologies. Okay, so Web 3.0, which is not a very older concept, in just last year it got in boom. Everyone talking on LinkedIn, everyone talking on blogs, everyone talking on media. Web 3.0, Web 3.0. Metaverse is also not very older thing. Just 2 to 3 years before metaverse came into the scenario. Okay, IoT is one of the field, Internet of Things, where we are talking about the smart cities, smart devices, smart technologies. But what about the security? Okay, lots of problems are actually with the smart devices itself. So we cannot avoid it. Okay, the things, if even like an in organization, IP cams are used, printers are used, even a smart UPS system, smart generators, smart light controls. In some organizations, windmills are created under the CSR. Okay, so windmills might be at some another state or another location, and that is accessible through the network, so we can monitor it. Okay, so or the solar panels are created that is connected to network to check that how much power is generating. Okay? So basically, these devices also the target. Okay, so hackers can target anything. Like, and I just give an example of AIMS, where the MRI machine got targeted. So here hackers can target a biometric machine, IP cameras, printers, smart air conditioners, smart washing machine, smart TV, smart coffee machines, and after the and over it, even the smart vehicles. Okay, so everything which is smart is actually a smart for just automation. This is actually not secure, and it's very proven theories on it. If you see the basically like in black hat conferences, which is every year happening on worldwide, so you can see there are the lots of very well-known brand smart devices. They are demonstrating that is hacked, is manipulated, which is very common, like including Alexa, or including the uh, we can say Google's Nest or Google Home. So unmanaged mobile devices also there, which is very commonly used. Then poorly configured, outdated firewall rules. So firewall is there, but it's not updating time to time. Its rules are not matching, so it's also showing for it. Then we can default passwords, which is again the target. Then insider privilege use. So insiders are more in organization everywhere. Any organization, either is a public sector organization, private sector organization. So insiders are everywhere. So because as a human being, we are not satisfied at any time. So we have a greediness in our mind, and we always trying to want something more than what we have right now. So from that, insider gets created. This insider mindset is created. So someone selling a company's confidential data outside, they are telling it, and because of that, they're getting some benefits. Okay, some privileges from the competitive organization or from hackers. Okay? So this type of things also very commonly happens. What are the network threats and vulnerabilities? So these are common vulnerabilities are there for networks. Weak password. So weak password, which is not properly secured. In currently in today's environment, minimum 16 character password is recommended to use. But still in organizations or still in the websites or applications, minimum 8 character password is used because people do not want to use a strong passwords. Another thing, they do not want to use a multiple password for multiple services. A common thing is there, single password, multiple services is used. So if the one service gets hacked or breached there, so same password can be utilized with the another services also. And commonly used password people are using. So weak password is one of the very common thing, and with a GPU, graphical processing in it. So so there is one live case study published in last year regarding NVIDIA GPU. So a specific model name I am unable to recall right now. You can find it over internet, but that model is shown there. Within the 10 minutes, it's cracked a 8 digits password, complex password. Okay, so this is actually within the 1 hour, not the 10 minutes. Within the 1 hour, is cracked the 8 characters password. Okay, which is a complex password. I'm not talking about the common password. I'm talking about the complex password. Okay, so 8 characters password is not that much of secure. So minimum 16 characters password is recommended, and that is also not easy to guessable password. Unpatched software is another very common challenge, like a unpatched operating system. Misconfigured devices. Misconfigured devices are basically the devices not configured properly. Because of the misconfiguration, see, this is the challenge occurred from last few years. Most of you might be working in this technology from last 10 years, 8 years, 20 years. Uh, so you might be seeing the transition of technology. In 2000 and 2023, there is a 23 years right now. How the technology rapidly got changed. Okay, earlier networks are not too much complex. Yeah, it's hard to manage, but complexity is not there. Nowadays, management of network might be little bit easier, but complexity got increased because in organization multiple technologies are used, and these technologies are rapidly changing, continuously they are changing. Okay, so in this case, a lots of time security misconfigurations are happening, conflicts of the security rules, policies, standards also happening, And nowadays, organization having a so much burden of standardization, compliances, frameworks, and so on things. Okay, see, I'm not saying that standards like ISO are not useful. Yeah, definitely they are useful, but is it really it's working for us? We need to definitely think on it. See, why we are ISO certified? Because government is saying. Why I am ISO certified? Because my client is asking, is it you have ISO certification? And how ISO certifications are given, we know the facts of it. Okay, it's not, it's directly like, and see, audits are very critical thing in organizations. But in reality, after the audits, lots of time we able to identify the miss. After the audits happen, report gets submitted, everything is normal. And after that also, you able to identify lots of vulnerabilities, lots of problems in network. This is happens this directly after the audit. Okay, so audits are the thing where we cannot trust directly. Even the compliances are not like that. Okay, one website saying that they are following PCI DSS compliance, and we are believing on them. Okay, so see, this is a questionable mark. We have to become the nausea of it. We have to come out from the nausea of it, like in standardization and the compliances and frameworks. Even after following of everything, why we cannot say that 100% confidently saying that, okay, my network is today secure, I can give the guarantee any attacker cannot able to hack my network or cannot able to attack my network. No one can able to give guarantee. The problem with the entire process. Okay, so this is definitely we need to be checked with an audits also. Like, and misconfigured devices are still available in market, even the audits helps us up to 60 to 70%. It's not fulfilling our all the requirements. Okay, this is about any ISO audit, any CISA audits, up to 70, 60, 70%, not more than. Lack of encryptions. So encryption is still is a challenge for organization. So lots of traffic is might be not entirely encrypted. So lots of traffic might be already in clear text moving, at least internally, okay, or between the intranet. There. Okay. Then insider threats, which is already mentioned. So insider threats are the having the privilege access, and that's why they able to get and more chances to compromise with network. So insider threats we need to identify with the different activities. So it can be possible like a phishing campaign you can launch in organization. So it's insider threats are not intentional always. It's also the unintentional, but that needs to be justified with it. Then lack of access control, okay, which is again another very big challenge. Access control is broken access control or the lack of access control. So access control are given into the manner even is not required. So that's why uh, scenario from like from the pandemics, at least that's called the least privilege. Okay, what is the least privilege? Give a minimum access to the anyone. Do not give more than that what they require. Okay, this is we have to be always nowadays. If you see even in organizations, people having a privileges accesses means they not required, but even they have a access. So what someone is required, we have to give that access only, even less than that. Do not give the more than what someone is required. Okay, strictly. And for this we can use a micro segmentation. So micro segmentation is actually helps us not to focus on network, not to focus on physical location. It helps us to focus on the devices. It helps us to focus on the resources. It helps us to focus on the human being. Okay, for the department we have a common policy, but for individual it's a common policy, is not applicable. We have to create a separate security policies for the separate employees of that department or member of the department. Okay. What is the reason behind it? It will help us to focus on micro level. Okay, we do not have to focus. See, ultimately when we want a really, if we want to really grow, so we have to be definitely we have to focus on everyone, but at the time individual also we need to focus. Okay, so that is happening with a zero trust. Okay, zero trust is basically helps us for micro segmentation. Zero trust is basically a concept where you do not have to trust anyone, because in security, a trust is the biggest enemy of it. Okay, a trust is the biggest problem. Okay, so that's why multiple authorization and multiple factors with it. Okay. Then social engineering. Social engineering is basically it's an attacks aims to trick employees into the doing some activities like, and basically we can say a LinkedIn also the one of the platform. If you see on LinkedIn post, lots of people also posting about it, that employees of organization targeted through the LinkedIn messages, because using a LinkedIn in organization is very common thing. Okay, even HRs are commonly using it, or other even the directors, CEOs, or top level management also using it. So using that, forget about the Facebook and Instagram. LinkedIn also one of the platform through that a spamming is happens. Okay, or even the job portals where people using it like a basically the Glassdoor and then the Naukri and so on platforms. I mean, so through that sensitive information of customers, the target is actually received. Right. So it's having the different tactics like phishing, pre-texting, and baiting. And nowadays, blackmailing is also increased. Okay, through the blackmailing is happens. So if you see the quick revision of it, so we have seen the types of cyber attacks: malware, network attacks, social engineering, and web application threats. Also, we have seen here the network threats and vulnerabilities like a weak password, unpatched software, misconfigured devices, lack of encryptions, insider threat, lack of access control, and social engineering. And network vulnerabilities are basically the weaknesses or the flaws which can lead to the attacks. Okay, and to launch an attack, and it after the successful launching of attack, attacker can gain unauthorized access, stealing the data, and launching the more attacks on the internet. Okay, so this is the one part is finished. Then what are the phases of hacking, or the pen testing? Hacking and pen testing is not a different thing. Ideally, they are same together. Just the pen testing is happening with information. Okay, pen testing is not happening without information like a hacking. And another thing, in a pen testing, we have to submit a report. In hacking, there is no report submission. Okay, so there are the usually 5 to 6 phases of it. Means ideally, hacking phases are 5, and a pen testing phases are 7. Okay, so ideally is yeah, but it can be the plus minus one there according to different frameworks available in market. So this process is typically involving the several phases. So what is the difference between hacking and pen testing? So pen testing is basically before to wait someone will hack organization. Uh, Organization will appoint the internal pen tester or external pen tester to hack their system. Okay, they will check it. Okay, how my systems are vulnerable and how it can be hacked. So if the pen tester able to successful to get the access, so anyone can able to get access. It's a theory. So after doing it, a pen tester will provide a solution. Okay, after implementing the solution, again the pen tester will pen test it and checking that is it that definitely that particular vulnerability got blocked or not. Okay, so the pen testing is basically used for legitimate use and is where organization aware about it, or in fact organization actually appointing means they are hiding the pen tester, or they might be appointing the external pen tester. Okay, in hacking this is not happening. In hacking definitely it's unknown person they are targeting. And if you see example, so we can see example right now. Recently one news occurred in 3 days before. Very big hacking happened in Indian bank history in 2018, almost. So that hacking with one of the leading cooperative sector bank, Cosmos Bank. So in a Cosmos Bank, few employees received the phishing email. These people clicked on it, might be few people clicked on it, and their machine got infected. Through that machine, attacker able to take advantage of their internal network, and then they taken the access of the data center. In a data center, they able to know that there is a Swift switch. Swift is a technology which is used to transfer money abroad and receiving money from abroad. So normally Swift technology is SWIFT. So Swift technology is used. So they taken advantage of the Swift switch and they transferred around 93 crore rupees to different locations of the world. And that is not happen immediately. You can see, just imagine 93 crore rupees, they transferred it, but they transferred it to different countries. And immediately most of the money got actually withdrawn because they already planned everything. So it's not immediately happen. They have some planning of at least 1 year before it. Okay, means it's a very pre-planned attack. Okay, they actually very aware that if they will get success in there, then what is the next step of it? So they transfer the most of the money in Hong Kong, then some other countries, and this hacking is successfully happened. Some money able to recover, and just 3 to 4 days before, big lots of criminal who involved in the Cosmos Bank hacking, they got arrested, they got busted by cyber police. Okay, so they also received, even like, and not only right now the criminals from who got busted, they are Indian people, but even some foreigners also involved in there, they not got busted. Okay, so you can see almost 4 to 5 years is required to bust them. Okay, so how the investigations actually they are doing the very continuously. Okay, because traces of it is impossible to take. They transfer the money to the bank account where there is no traces of that bank accounts, and immediately that money got withdrawn with the debit cards or the credit cards. Basically debit cards, not the credit card. Debit cards also the ready to remove the money, to withdraw the money from the ATMs. Immediately lots of money got withdrawn. Okay, so we can say example where so they perform the reconnaissance first, planning and reconnaissance. Okay, you can see example. I will give you the example of Olympics here. Olympic happens every four years. Okay, means internal 4 years. Okay, but the person who wins the gold medal, silver medal, or bronze medal, okay, they are not doing a practice on that same year only. They are doing the continuous practice from the last Olympics to the present Olympics or the future Olympics. They'll do it. Okay, means their efforts for 4 years, and they will perform for that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever the minutes are. Okay, to win the prize. Okay, to win the medal, to play that sport game for sport. Okay, so efforts are required, patience is required, and continuous dedication also required. And hackers actually having that. What hackers are doing, they have a patience, they have a dedication, they have a technology knowledge, in-depth knowledge, and another thing, believe on themselves and out of box thinking. See, sometimes thinking a silly thing is not a problem. See, in organization, what happens if you tell seniors saying something which is might be not business value, so they will not accept. Okay, we'll say, okay, this is the thing, but it's not a business value. But I'm thinking that because of this, might be some security issue might be possible. So no one will take into the consideration, because in organization thinking level is very different. Whatever we are telling, it requires to be have a business value. Then someone will think on it. Okay, if there is no business value, so no one will take care of it. Okay, so this approach also we have to change. Okay, we are dealing as a cyber security analyst, as a cyber security defender, we are dealing with the people, they are thinking out of box. So we also needs to be think out of box. Okay, they are thinking, they having a patience, so we require also having the same, because we need to be on same level to defend themselves. See, we have this type of even security, multi-layer security defense in there, then how they able to penetrate it? Okay, according to us, our organization is secure, but according to hacker, it's not. They will penetrate it. Okay. See how it's happened, because they are thinking out of box. We are not thinking out of box. We are actually avoiding to think like that, like a hackers. And this is a biggest problem in every organization. Think about something silly things, think about something impractical, think about something impossible. Okay. And apply a security according to that. Apply understand the gaps in security. Okay, whatever the secure is for you, but for others is not. Okay, we have to be definitely we can understand about it. So reconnaissance is understanding the target environment. Okay, and through that they will launch and the next plans. So scanning, in this phase, a penetration tester uses a tools to scan the target system for vulnerabilities, like such as open ports, vulnerable unpatched software, and the misconfiguration settings. So for planning and reconnaissance, there is another technology also used, that is called the OSINT. OSINT is an open source intelligence. So identifying anyone's information using a name, using a social media profile, using an email address, using a mobile number is become a very easy nowadays. Okay, so OSINT is helpful for that. And as a human being, we are very tend to spread our information through the social media. If we are thinking that if we are not posting a photo on Instagram, so Instagram people, employees will not get salary. This is how we are tending to post the photos on Instagram. We are posting the reels on the different platforms on or publishing the information, which is not at all required. Okay, but we are habitual for social media, and that is actually creating a problem for us. Okay, so if you use a tool like a Maltego, okay, Maltego is one of the good tool for OSINT. If you find information about your email ID, your mobile number, your name, you will get surprise from the results. You will able to know that someone knows about you more than you. This is the reality. Okay, I will tell you the name also. The tool Maltego tool is works in Windows, Mac, and Linux. It's a commercial tool actually. Okay, and this tool actually uh, comes in a community edition also. It's an excellent graphical tool. If you got ever any chance, you can download it. It's a free tool. Create a sign up, sign in, and you can log into that tool and you can try to find about yourself itself. You able to know that a lots of information available about yourself over the internet, which is a sensitive information, and that can be used against you. Okay, so this is a very serious thing, and we are doing it very common. Then gaining in a scanning phase, there is a different options are available, like you can say Nmap. This is very popular platform tool is there. So network mapper, which is available in this ecosystem from last 25 years, and it's basically also works in different platforms like a Windows, Mac, opens BSD, Solaris is there, and so on. Also there is another platform which is used, that is a GVM. GVM is a greenbone So that is identified for the vulnerability. I'm not talking about commercial tool right now. I'm talking about the open source tool or the community edition available tools. Okay. So water tool I'm saying, which is the one of the, it's not recommendation. I'm just taking a name of the tool to get an understanding. So for the scanning, Nmap is used mostly, or GVM is used, which is the Greenbone Vulnerability Management, to understand the vulnerability. Even there's another tool called the Legion, okay, which is the fork of the Sparta. This is previous name of the Sparta, and identifying the lots of information about the target. Gaining access is actual phase where from the information gathered from the planning and scanning phase is used to launch the attack. So for these, attackers are mostly uses some tools like a Metasploit. So Metasploit is a product of Rapid7. It's a commercial tool and available in community edition. So Metasploit is used to identify the vulnerability and even the exploits, and take advantage of the target system. Any target system, including the mobiles, including the printers, including the any device, IoT, like and even the databases, laptops, or even the smartwatches also. Okay, and for this, another tool is used, that is a ACT. ACT is a social engineering toolkit. Okay, which is also available in market for free of cost almost. A commercial edition also available. So ACT is the tool which is used for social engineering attack, successful attacks. With the ACT, you can hack a latest Windows Server 2022. Okay, or Windows 11 also. I'm talking about a workstation. I'm talking about the Windows 11 Enterprise, or a server to Windows Server 2022 Data Center Edition, Enterprise Edition. I'm talking about these editions. These are the commercial editions, and organization these editions are commonly used. Okay, you can hack that, or that particular even having the antivirus or other systems. So ACT tool is very powerful tool, and just imagine this tool available free of cost. So it's so anyone can use it. So this is actually, it becomes a very easy for nowadays for attackers, like anyone to hack the system, because of exploits are available easily, free of cost, or downloading. YouTube is available to see the video and hack the systems. Even the lots of blogs are available, tutorials are available. if you go on github.com like a platforms, there is also the information available. It says that, okay, how to hack. Okay, so this type of resources initially is not available. So hackings are not that much, but if you see nowadays from last few years, attacks are increasing day by day. It's not reducing. Even so-called advanced security solutions we have with us. Okay, so even it's increasing. It's not decreasing at all. And investment, see, you can just imagine in 2001, how much you are investing of your revenue on security, and in 2023, how much you are investing of your revenue on security. It's not less. So in 2020, in 2000 millennium era, it might be the 1% or 2%. Nowadays is also the 15 and 20%, even the 10%, which is very generally invested on the security, applying the security and manpower for it. Okay, so this is basically even the securities are there, but definitely attackers also having the way to bypass it. Okay, they know to defend or penetrate the security. Okay, this is not I'm promoting them, I'm saying that okay, it's a negative part with the security, but this is the reality we need to accept. If we do not accept, so we need to face the consequences also. The problem is that we do not want to accept the negativity. This is not a negativity, but not thinking about the negatives, but we can't avoid to thinking about the negative side. Okay, and we are not thinking, that's why the problems are occurring. Okay, we are always saying that okay, this is the secure, but when is secure? Because we thinking it is secure. What others thinking, we don't know. Okay, that is the biggest challenge. Okay, so it's showing that some pen testing hacking phases. So it's first phase is planning and reconnaissance, then scanning phase, gaining the access, and then maintaining the access. Maintaining the access is basically APT. APT is an advanced persistent threat. So persistent access means these three phases no need to again follow. Okay, this fourth step is creating a backdoor. See, what attacker is doing is creating a backdoor in a system. So when attacker wants, they can take again access. He or she can take again access. Okay, so that is very important to understand, maintaining access. And then the fifth one is basically is showing that like clearing the tracks and analyzing the security configurations. So it will make a bypass in there, or it will create the whitelisting for after it. Okay, so it doesn't mean that in big basket there is no security mechanism is there. Yes, they have. Okay, but they got hacked. Even it's happened with Uber. So Uber got hacked in October 2022. Okay, so it's basically hacked with a driver's account. Okay, so one of the hacker hacked through that. Okay, and the interesting thing is there, after Uber got hacked, Uber started to hire a security positions worldwide. So almost 60 to 70 people they hired worldwide after that incident. Okay, so it doesn't mean that they don't have a security. They have a security, but there is some misconfiguration. Their organization unable to identify, but someone identified the problem, and they take an advantage of Uber. So entire Uber ecosystem, is internal ecosystem got hacked through that attack. So it's showing that maintaining access, which is basically it will not again attempt it, the first three pages. So creating a backdoor basically is there. And analyzing and reporting, where it will analyze the test results and providing the detailed findings. This is happens in pen testing. Okay, because we are seeing in a mixture of the hacking and pen testing together. So reports on the vulnerabilities and solutions of that, and the proofs can be shown. What is the threat mapping? Threat mapping is basically identifying and prioritizing the potential threats. Okay, so it can be happen with the CVSS also. CVSS is basically the common vulnerability scoring system. It's a calculator which helps us to understand on the scale of 0 to 10. So 0 means less problematic with information, and 10 means a critical. Okay, so it's having the some basically the some levels like information, low level, medium level, high level, and the critical level. So based on that, we can prioritize the threats. Okay, so we have to prioritize the threat first critical, then the high level, then medium level, then low level, then the information. Okay, so this is basically a threat mapping happens in a threat mapping process, and we can map our threat with a CVE, common vulnerability exposure, CWE, common weakness enumeration, and CPE, common platform enumeration. A CPE is basically the platform. Platform means operating systems or the applications, mostly the operating systems. So in which platform is applicable, on Linux or Unix or Windows, on BSD, on Solaris, on Windows, on Mac systems, on iOS, on Android, wherever it's applicable. So CPE is also available. Apart from that, Maitre's attack framework is available. So if you visit a website, attandck.maitre.org, you can see the TTPs are there. TTPs are the tactics, techniques, and the procedures. So in there, we able to understand what are the techniques, what are the tactics, what are the techniques inside it, sub techniques, and the procedures used by the attackers to hack the organization. It's a very well-maintained project. Ever, if you got a chance, you can visit the attandck.maitre.org, and where you will find a CTI also. A CTI is a cyber threat intelligence, which is a requirement of today's environment or today's infrastructure. A CTI is basically gathering the threats information intelligently from the public sources or from the private sources. Lots of CTI applications are available in market, and a Maitre basically providing their own CTI platform or service called as a STIX. STIX is there, and then the one protocol is there that's called the taxi. So STIX and the taxi both can work together to collect information about the cyber threats intelligently, and fortunately, both the things are free of cost available. Apart from this, there is another project is there called as a CAPEC. CAPEC is basically a project that is also helps us from the understanding the different common attack patterns and enumerations are there. So CAPEC is called basically. And MAEC, basically this is also one of the project is there, which is the malware enumeration attributes there. So this is also the one of the excellent project, and these all projects available free of cost. So if anyone from the security department, and if you are not aware or already aware with this is a good thing. If it's not aware, so you can feel free to visit the maitre.org's website, and please feel free to go through this information. Because I have a limited time, so definitely I have to cover the lots of things. So I cannot just give a most time to the one part there. Okay. You can see here the example is added. What is the problem space? Problem space is a defined DFDs mapping the privacy threats and DFD elements, or even the identifying threat scenarios. What is the solution phase? So for this, we can do the prioritization of the threats. Then we can also perform the illicit mitigation strategies, and we can also provide the corresponding PETs. Okay, so basically, problem space is adding, and the solutions also is provided. Okay. Then what is the in the threat mapping? It's showing the first thing we have to do asset identification. Assets are more important. I will give you an example of the audits here. Right now, audits are important for assets. There is no doubt on it, because in organization after the audits, lots of time departments are unable to recognize their own assets, or some assets there is no track of the assets. Okay, I have a recent example with one of my best friend. He working with one company. He given me the example with an after the asset audit is happened. So in organization they unable to track 100+ devices, which is the laptops actually. There is no track of it. There is no entries of it, so, and there is a billing of that. Okay, see, so this is actually happens with a human mistake. They might be not given anywhere. It might be there somewhere escaped, might be given, someone is not given the entry of it. But the problem happened after, a problem got identified after the audit. See, in this type, audits are definitely helpful. Most of the time, organizations are not aware about their own assets itself. I will give another example here about the JP Morgan. In JP Morgan, see, it's a very big organization, and it works in a finance sector and some other sectors also. In JP Morgan, 2015 to 2018, they discarded the hardware. Discarding a hardware in any organization is a common process. Means after the life cycle ends of the hardware, so every organization discarding it. Okay, they are selling it, they are reselling it, they might be destroying it, whatever they will do with that assets. But there is a practice for it. So it's a common practice in every organization. JP Morgan sold their old assets to one third-party vendor from 2015 to 2018. In this year, everyone got audited, everything got audited, everything got certified. Okay, process on paper is excellent. Okay, but when actual this process got identified later, that data got leaked from the JP Morgan. Okay, personal data, miss people's data, confidential data is got leaked from it. Okay, and that data breach is happened, and they got a huge amount fine from the data security authorities. Okay, so it's specifically. So asset identification is very important. So we need to be identify the assets, and also needs to be properly like and maintain their life cycle. And after the life cycle gets end, we have to properly destroy them. So in a JP Morgan, they not properly destroyed the data of the hard drive or storage disk, and that got retrieved later by the attackers. Then threat identification, identifying the potential threats to the organization assets, including cyber threats, potential physical threats, and the natural disasters. Then vulnerability identification, where we can provide the identification of the potential vulnerabilities which is available in organization systems. Then risk assessment, which is actually identifying the likelihood and the potential impact of the each identified threat. So whatever we identified previously, so we need to identify the risk associated with it. Prioritization is based on their likelihood impact, so we can actually prioritize them to solve it. And after that, action planning. Action planning is basically the developing a plan to address the highest priority threats, including the and implementing the security measures and allocating the resources. So this is included in the threat mapping. In a threat categorization, basically is having the internal threats and the external threats. So external threats are the political, economical, social, technological, legislative threats, and the environmental threat. Apart from this, other threats also available like supply chain management threats. Okay, so this is also one of the very common thing we have to focus nowadays. And internal threats, which is the process project threats, then personal threats and the property threats. So these are the threat areas that we have to cover. So categorization of threat will help us to where we have to focus. Third party vendor management is also the actually the topic of the threat management. So nowadays supply chain security and the vendor third party vendor management security is also the requirement of security. Okay, it's also needs to be considered. Okay, and apart from it, we have basically the security within the physical security needs to be also assessed, or perimeter security. Okay. So this is added within the threat categorization with the already these topics are shown. APTs, that is very important to understand. APTs are basically very sophisticated. Long-term attacks are designed to evade detection. Evade detection basically means bypassing the detections, or if the detections are there, it will compromise it. Like given the example of Sophos firewall. Organization system. Another thing which is the third party risk. Third party risk included with the vendors, partners, contractors, and stakeholders. Internal stakeholders or the external stakeholders. Access to sensitive information or system, it may pose to potential threats. Okay, so it's adds. So in threat prioritization, you can basically provide the prioritization within the highest priority based on the threat, patches that addresses vulnerabilities that exploited in being in the wild. Wild basically means the on the large scale. Relevance prevalence is there, where the patches that address the vulnerabilities install on the most machines in the organization. Criticality, so where the patches that addresses the vulnerability that represents the highest risk if it gets exploited. And in asset sensitivity, where patches that address the vulnerabilities install on the most sensitive devices in the organization. Critical devices we need to identify. Okay, this is question comes like an in organization, what are the devices are most critical? Every device is not critical devices, but what are the most critical devices? That needs to be identified, and where we should see the criticality, threats, and the prevalence on. Okay. Okay. So what is the how it will be effectively happen? So probability of occurrences. So in the likelihood of the threat occurrences based on the historical data and the other relevant factors. In this case, CTI helps us, cyber threat intelligence. Even the MITRE frameworks helps us to understand that when the threat started to infecting and how it's infecting, and what is the solution on it, and how is changing its properties. So Maitre is one of the best framework you can see, or there are some solutions are available nowadays, SOAR solutions, security orchestration, response, and automation. So with them also be able to understand the probability of occurrences of threats in organization. So based on that, we can prioritize the threats. Then potential impact means what is the impact of the threat? What are the damage and harm it can be possible with the result of the successful attack? So including the financial loss or reputation damage or other business impact. Even the vulnerability severity is there, where the severity of the vulnerability that the threat is exploits, including how easy it is it exploited. So if you go on nvd.nist.gov, so you're able to know that exploitability matrix of it, or there is another website of US government, that is a cisa.gov. Okay, so if you visit this website, this is the US government's website, where CISA is releasing basically a toppest vulnerabilities which easily gets exploited. Okay, so they are releasing a list of it. So if you have that list with you, so on CISA website is available, cisa.gov. Okay, and also you can there's a CIS is available. Basically, they are using that also can be possible to check the most exploited vulnerabilities. Then vulnerability severity is based on that how basically is shown. Then regulatory requirements, whether the threats represents a violation of regulatory or the compliance requirements like a HIPAA, PCI DSS or GDPR. Compliances are mandate to follow everyone according to domains we are working. Even we do not have to follow, but we need to do that. That is a reality. But in this case, uh, how we are maintaining the compliance, and I'm not talking about the on paper. If you see every organization on paper, they are excellent. Okay. On reality, they have to follow. I have lots of examples with me itself. I have seen, I have experienced it. On the paper, everything is excellent, everything is good, everything is signed, stamped, recommended, recognized. Lots of awards for that findings, but there is actually the things are not that much of happen. That the same way is happening. So that definitely we have to avoid it. Okay, if we are really following what we are representing on the paper, then we are in good way. If we are not doing that, so we are in danger zone. Okay, so even we have a lots of security solutions with us, top-notch solutions with us, top-notch solutions with us. This is not matters. We have to really follow whatever we are saying on paper. What are we are documenting, and all we are aware that reality is different. There is a very big gap between the documentation and what is happening. Okay. So that's actually we have to be aware. Yeah. Miss insecurity in any other part can be possible, but in security basically we have to be follow whatever mentioned on the paper over the paper or over the document. Criticality of assets, that's we have to be understand how important that asset to the organization. Then availability of countermeasures. What are the countermeasures are available? Okay, sometimes countermeasures are not released itself. Okay, Windows is very having a bad reputation in this. Windows not releasing the patches immediately with the most vulnerabilities. Their products are most vulnerable, and they are not releasing the patches until and unless it's too critical. Most of their products are unpatched until and unless it's in live system. So they will recommend that to upgrade to the new version mostly. So they are very basically we can say a very bad player in this field, releasing the patches on time and effective patches. Most of the Windows patches are exploited after its release. For the vulnerability, Microsoft releases a patch, and that patch itself gets exploited, or that patch is unstable. Because of that, stable system becomes unstable. Most of you might be also have this type of experience with Windows systems or Microsoft services or products. Okay, so their patches are not always trustable patches. So countermeasures are available, but needs to be tested. It needs to be identified first how effectively it's working. Time sensitivity, whether the threats needs to be addressed immediately or whether it can be addressed over the longer period of time. So we have to see the time sensitivity also there. So this is the quick revision. Okay, so I think one message is received. Okay, okay, so it's saying the okay feedback form. Okay, so it's saying that phases of hacking. So phases of hacking is planning, reconnaissance, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and analyzing the reports. Threat categorization with a malware, phishing, DOS, DDoS. Insider threats, APTs, physical threats, natural threats, and third-party risks. Threat prioritization happens with a probability of occurrences, potential impact on vulnerability severity, regulatory requirements, criticality of assets, availability of countermeasures, and time sensitivity. The process of threat mapping typically involves in several steps, including asset identification, threat identification, vulnerability identification, risk assessment, prioritization, and the action plan. So this is basically the quick revision of whatever the completed. So this is the last slide. So if you let me know if you have any query, but before that, there is a quick final quiz we will take. And I'm expecting that you will take here basically the active participation. This is not just for measuring you there, but just for an involvement of everyone. Because I am just talking for the long time. So just for to understand. So what is a malware? What is the option for it? Anyone? You can unmute your mic or you can type a message. Okay. What option is right for here? So this is the first question. So what is the answer for it?
B.
B. Okay, good. Good. So Yukendra said that it's a type of software that is used to control another computer without the owner's consent. Good. The next question is there, which is this is the answer is error. So which is not following a common type of malware. Okay, virus, spyware, firewall, and ransomware. This is the answer.
Firewall.
Firewall. Excellent. Yes, yes, good. Excellent. So this is not a file. This is a security system actually, which is not a type of common network attack. Denial of service attack, man in the middle attack, password cracking attack, the phishing attack. C. Good. Password cracking attack is not a common form of the network attack. Then yes, yes. Then basically it's added a C there. Yeah. So D is not there. Sorry, this is the typo. Okay, don't. This is the typo. Yeah, it's not actually the phishing. Yeah. So actually it's a C, not the D. Okay. So what is a DDoS? Okay. DDoS. Which is the option is right for it?
A.
A. Okay, good. A is the right answer for it. Excellent. Then we'll see the next part here. What is the phishing attack?
Should be D.
Should be D. Okay. Yeah. So an attack that tricks a user into revealing sensitive information through the fake website or email. Okay. So this is a D. Okay. Good. Then we'll see the next part, which is the what is the network vulnerability. So that's your two answers.
A.
Okay.
A should be A. Yeah.
Good. So A is there. Then what is the enumeration in context of hacking and pen testing, penetration testing? Okay, so in the context of hacking and so it says that process is identifying a vulnerability system. Is it right?
Should be A.
Process of discovering usernames or information about the target system. Is it A? So we'll see. See. So it's basically a vulnerabilities of the target system. Good. So next thing, what is the threat mapping?
Difficult.
Difficulties. Okay. Okay, so it's basically the visualization of the relationship of the organizations in the assets. Okay, good, excellent. What is the categorization in the context of the threat management?
B.
Okay. So for the process of grouping similar threads based on their characteristics and the attributes. So the next thing, what is the prioritization? Okay, this is not the, this is the instance. So this is the last question. What is the prioritization in the context of the thread management? Actually, this is actually is got and repeated. So don't worry, no need to be repeated. So this is the last slide. So this is for today. If you have any queries, any questions, let me know. I know that it little bit because of the time I have, and expression goes a little bit longer, so it might be little bit faster I use. But let me know in case of any queries, any questions, any doubts, anything you want to ask, or any suggestion, feedback.
Thanks a lot, Kuldeep, for the valuable time. We welcome any query in case anyone has. Please,
Yes.
you can type in the chat box or you can raise your hand. You can use your mic.
Yes.